Welcome to the Seller Roundtable e-commerce coaching and business strategies with Andy Arnott and Amy Wees.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the Seller Roundtable. This is episode number 130. I can't believe we're at 130 already. Andy is out today. He's doing some real estate venture thing, but I'm here with my friend Mac Schlesinger. And Mac has a really cool story. And I met Mac, as I was just saying on the Facebook Live, I met Mac at ASGTG event in New York and learned that he, does a lot of cool things Amazon related, but he also co-founded an event called Amazon Powwow. And last week I went to Amazon Powwow and I had a great time in Miami. So we're here to talk to Mac and learn all about Mac and how he got into this whole event business and a little bit more about his e-commerce story. So welcome, Mac. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Amy, for having me. And it was great to meet you last week at the Powwow event in Miami. And it's a pleasure being here. Let's have some fun here.
Yes, exactly. It was great to meet you as well. We have to talk about my experience on and this was my first when I met you at ASGTG. It was my first experience in at an event with mostly Jewish attendees, right? And so you all have done such a wonderful job of explaining something a little bit more about the Hasidic Jewish community. And you guys have an incredible amount of sellers, like a big seller population, and the people are really great. And you guys know how to eat. Like you can eat the food people is amazing. If you guys have not been to any of these events, you have to go for the food. But Mac, tell us a little bit about you, your background, how you got started in this e-commerce game.
So, hi everyone, my name is Mac Schlesinger, and I grew up in basically, as you see, in that Hasidic area. And we grew up in those. We basically studied mainly like the Torah and all the Bible and all the Jewish stuff. And then, once we grow adult life, then we get into the business, and everyone, finds their own unique whatever specialty or whatever they do. And I happen to, obviously before that I worked in many jobs, but long story short, I got into the e-commerce field by, I've always had this thing of finding products, selling products, marketing products. It just happened to be those. So a few years ago, I think it's going back probably 10 years ago, I got into with eBay, and then Amazon came on the board, and I tried out all these different types of businesses, the e-commerce businesses that people did, flipping stuff from Amazon to eBay, from finding deals, and then after a few years jumping into the Chinese private label thing. Whatever, I went through everything.
So you've done all the different business models. So you just started just selling different things, maybe reselling, a little wholesale, it sounds like. And then you started, what year was it that you started private label?
Private label was around 2014 or 15.
Okay, so you were in the greatest times for private label, because back in 2014 and 2015, if you put a private label product on Amazon, even if it was white label and not truly private label, it just sold.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember when I started, I had no idea what I'm doing, which product I'm selling, but whatever product I put on there, I did my listing stuff. It sold right away. I saw myself as a millionaire right when I sold the first product,
Well, and a lot of people, that happened to a lot of people, and a lot of content was created on that. And some of the content that exists today is still teaching that old model of, just pick a really popular product and throw it on Amazon, and it doesn't work the same anymore. But
no, not at all.
but I would say that the marketing principles are the same, right? Like being able to find a listing, you still need to have good SEO. Whether or not that product is really competitive or not is the question today, right? But the fundamentals of listing a product and selling a product are the same. They remain, right?
Yeah.
So you started private label, and you've done a bunch of other things. And you mentioned in your community, you said when you become adults, you just kind of get started in the business. Do people do other things, or is it is really e-commerce is like really the thing that a lot of people choose?
No, there are a lot of things that people are good at, like construction. Someone is a plumber, someone an electrician, someone is like a designer, or all this kind of stuff. But e-commerce is a big thing about the city community, because first of all, as you said years ago, it was easy. Like you just took a product, put it on, and it's sold. And that's an easy way to start. So one person comes into this, and if, for example, like let's say 10 people are working at a company, like one Amazon company, and then all these 10 people, they become sellers themselves, like eventually. So the whole community grows in this. So that's why we have so many different sellers and all these
Yeah, I was very impressed with just how strong the community is and all the different business models and service-based industries that are represented, and just the willingness to learn, and it was really, really great to get that exposure. And of course the food, definitely the food is my favorite part. But anyways, when Tim Jordan told me, he's like, just get ready to eat, I was like, what do you mean? I didn't know what he meant, but now I know. Okay. So, so you got started in private label in like 2014, 2015, and then, and now you have a service-based business, right? You're doing some listings and stuff like that. So how did you make that transition into service-based business?
So basically how it happened is that, let's say in 2014, I started selling in a private label. I built my own brand, like I brought some different products, different categories, tried out different products. And then I stuck with a few categories that I built up. And then I had like a big company, like a big Amazon company from our community. He found out about what I'm doing with my products, all this marketing and everything. And he said that he's looking for someone like that, like, because he has an e-commerce business, mainly on eBay, and he's looking for someone to take all these products and build it up on Amazon. So I joined the company. It was a little bit hard because I was like my own boss for a few years, and now I have another boss just like this. But I did it because it's I felt like it's, for the long run, it's gonna work out, hopefully. And it did. So basically what happened was that I worked for that company. I took all of the products and I put it on Amazon, and I built like bundles and different things. I created all the listing content, the copy, the images, and I took care of everything like related on Amazon. So by the time I took the job, I wasn't even aware of my specialties. Like, what am I good at? What's my main this? And but by the time I worked in it, I figured it out. So they realized that I'm really great at the content, right? Like all the creative stuff. And as time went on, I realized that my passion is not really in buying products, selling products, returns, and inventory. It didn't wake me up in the morning. So what did wake me up in the morning is all this creative stuff, like writing the listings, researching, and photography, graphics, all these different stuff. So since I had other coworkers in that company, they saw what I did and they left the company. They started their own company, so they hired me on the side to do the work for them. And the word got out, and they said they spoke with their friends. So basically, they put me into business. But for me, it was very hard back then because I wasn't like an outgoing person. I was very like shy, sitting in my computer in my corner and doing the work. And they all asked me to start an agency, like do it officially for the public. But I was like, how am I going to deal with people all day? How am I going to talk with people? It's not my thing. So it took a few weeks or a few months till, I finally broke out and started doing it for more people, until it become an official company. I came up with a name, bestseller listers. I did everything myself. Like I didn't know what I'm doing. Like I just started and it happened.
I love that.
So
You know, I love what you said about you realized through all of this work, and I want to commend you because you weren't afraid to work. You weren't just looking to get rich quick. You really, you're like, okay, I have my own private label. I'm selling these things. I know how to do this. I'm going to go work for this other guy because who knows what that'll turn into, right? You were open to all of the opportunities that, and that actually continued to open doors for you. But what you said in there is you said that you realized that that was something you really loved doing, creating listings, the creative aspect of listing a product and showing it off and branding and all of that was just what kept you going. Like you really liked that. It lit a spark. And I can identify with that because that same thing happened to me when I had, my product molds that I had to pay for. I thought, how can I earn money? And I was doing wholesale at the time. And I really, really liked writing listings. And so I just started writing them on Fiverr, and I never knew what would come of it. But I mean, I love it. And now I get way more excited about marketing products because that's like my little spark of creative genius, right? Than I do about the sales process, right? The actual selling and inventory management. Well, I don't think anybody likes that stuff anyway, but but that is also my little corner of the world. So I completely understand where you're coming from there, and I love how you weren't afraid to just dig in and work for it, and figure out what stuck for you. So yeah, that's awesome. So speaking of listings being your creative spark, this is an Amazon sellers podcast. So I think that we'd be remiss not to talk about some awesome listing optimization tips for Mac. So can I put you on the spot, Mac? And can we talk about listing optimization? What would you say is the number one thing? Let's say I'm a new seller and I'm launching my first product and I'm, getting that listing put together. What would you say is the maybe number one, number two, top three things that people should be focusing on with listing optimization?
yeah, you put me on the spot. I mean, people put me on this exact spot every day, so I'm kind of used to this. So basically, it's very obvious because, as you said earlier, like 10 years ago, it was totally different, but certain things are still like the same thing that you have to do, but you just have to do it better. So, for example, the listing copy, there's so many. I mean, the listing in general, like there's so many different small pieces, like of the puzzle involved, like from the sales copy to the keywords to the photography to the graphics, everything. It's like one puzzle. It's not like you can just get away with one thing and hopefully be successful. So you have to make sure that every part of the listing is 100% done properly, like the copy, the keywords, the pictures, and obviously the pricing and the reviews is for something that you can really do. But the main thing is the creative stuff, is which the whole puzzle has to click together.
Yeah, I would agree. Your photos really, really have to tell the story of what you're trying to communicate in your copy. And so many times I see people that have really great copy and just they explain the product so well and all of the benefits and everything, and I'll go through their photos and I won't see any of that information. And
Exactly.
a lot of people won't even read the listing if you don't answer their questions in the photos. So I agree, listing optimization isn't just about writing some copy. In fact, quite the opposite. I think it's about the idea of, what the customer cares about, right? And what is their pain point that you're trying to connect with, and then showing those benefits in your photos and really thinking through them for your copy. We have a process where we write the listing first. So we study the market and then we draft the listing and in the flow of the customer sales process, and then we make the images match. So the images tell the story of what we've just studied in the market and written in the copying. I agree 100%. It's not something to skimp on. It will pay you back in so many sales, right?
Sure, no, because I'm thinking now. I just had it this morning. Someone called me up, like every day else. He called me up that he has a listing for a few years already, and he doesn't know what happened because he used to go so well, and lately got so many competitors, and his listing's not picking up. So I told him, I don't know, just send me the listing. Let me take a quick look. So he sends me the listing. He has like a really nice content, but the picture he has like one image of a nice. I mean, it was a nice main image, but that's all. I was like, where's all the rest of the images, like all the infographics, the lifestyle? It said, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary because I have all this information in the copy. So it's like, why do I need these images? So it took some time. I had to explain him that especially these days, a lot of people are, I don't know how you say, like visual. Yeah. So they don't have patience to go through all these 5 bullet points and description and the whole thing. They just click on the 5-6 images. They see everything there, and they make a decision from there. So
I love Brian Johnson has this rule. He also spoke at Powwow. He has this rule of you should be able to process a photo in 5 seconds.
yeah.
So you know how sometimes people go a little bit to the opposite side of, extreme with their photos, where it's just like a photo with so much text. Like I will literally, instead of an infographic, I'm just going to write a book on the photo, right? And so you can't process it in under 5 seconds. You can't get the idea of it. You shouldn't really have to read in depth into the text on a photo, like icons with a little bit of text works well. But yeah, I love that rule of, okay, and he gave me, I'm mad at him for waiting so long to give me that rule because I was going over some photos that we were doing for a client and I just couldn't put my finger on what the problem was. I knew there needed to be a change, and he said, yeah, it needs to be processed in under 5 seconds. And I was like, that's it. It's, we got to change it up so that we're getting the idea really quick. So I love that. I love that. That's your advice. Really great advice. Cool. So you're in the service-based industry now, and you got started doing events. So what made you decide to do events, and how did you get into events?
Honestly, now that you're asking me, I'm thinking back, wow, how did I do that? No, but it's a long story. So basically, since I started a service company in, I think, in 2017. How long is it? Like 4 or 5 years. So basically, once I broke out of my shell, as I told you, I was like very quiet. And then once I broke out, then I went and started going in public, like promoting myself, and then started going to shows, to promote my company. My entire journey, everything changed. Like everything changed for me. So it's like so when I started doing to brand myself or to promote myself, like on LinkedIn, especially, like I don't know if you ever was on LinkedIn. I used to be very active, like posting videos about myself, about my company. I was very active. So over there, I got a big influence on Amazon and Amazon sellers. And then I did it on WhatsApp as well. And on WhatsApp, I have like my status, which is like on WhatsApp status. I have like a separate app for that, for business, where I post constantly like latest updates and news and those about Amazon. And then I have my own group, like it's called the Amazon Bestsellers, which is a group of all like sellers, and people are communicating, like discussing questions, answers, issues, and stuff like that.
Is that a WhatsApp group?
It's a WhatsApp group, yeah.
Oh, very cool. I need to join.
Definitely. The only problem with WhatsApp groups is it's limited to like 250 something members. So I constantly have to do. Actually, right before this podcast, I did like another cleanup, like remove people that are not active and put on new people, whatever. So it's a whole situation. But it's like a very tight, closed group. It's not like any public, any random person can join.
That's cool.
So yeah. So to our point, so I became sort of an Amazon influencer throughout our community and around it. So people started asking me like constantly, how about do something in an event? You have all these groups, you have all the students. How about you take all of your followers and clients and put it together like a one whole? But I was like, same thing when I started listening. I was like, I don't know, it's not for me. I'm not the person to go out and on stage and do events. So it took some time. So finally last year, I met with my great friend, old friend, and he happens to be my neighbor as well. He's Joel Wall, and I'm sure a lot of people know him. So he basically reached out to me. I mean, we actually discussed together, and then we came with the idea, how about we do an event? Because it was right after COVID. A lot of the events was canceled, whatever. So how about we come in and we start events again? First we started small, like we started thinking small, like maybe do it like in our backyard, because we had like this big backyard here in Towns River. So like in our backyard, like a party style, people come, enjoy food, and then hook up our, all this stuff that we have, the VIP, we'll talk about later. So we do that, and then we're thinking all the details back and forth, and then we realized that we have another friend, his name is Yehuda Suskin. He did an event like for his organization like a few years ago, and we reached out to him asking him, you did it before. We want to hear from you, like how you can help on this. So he was like, oh wait, I wanted to do it again, but I wasn't sure this and that. Now that you guys want to do it, let's do it together. So we partnered up, all three of us, and we started like with a smaller version, event in New Jersey. It was a beautiful event at a golf course.
Yeah, my friend Christina spoke
Christina,
at that
yeah,
event,
she was
and she
speaking
really
there.
had a great time.
Yeah, so we started that as a proof of concept. We took like a smaller hall, and we had the trade show and the food, and it happens to work out even better, much better than expected. And people were very excited because we bring like a different energy, like a different vibe to the whole event. The way we do things, the way we do things. And once we did the New Jersey event, people were like, "Come on, no, we're waiting for the next event. Where's the next powwow?" And so then we decided, okay, let's go bigger. Where are we going? Like doing it again in New Jersey? Like it's kind of boring. What do we do next? So we were like, how about we do it like in the winter in a tropical area? Let's go to Miami and let's see what's going on over there. Long story short, we did it like I think in six weeks. We planned. I mean, 3 people together, powerful. Then we hired like a manager.
You really did. I mean, you really put this thing together, and you guys, I mean, they had just a couple of weeks to put this thing together, and I put events together, and it takes that amount of time just to promote the event. And they did all of this in this tiny short period of time, and you guys had over 900 people there. Mm-hmm. You had a humongous Jungle Island in Miami was huge, and you had this huge event venue and lots of space, huge room, huge conference rooms. You had 59 vendors, so a huge kind of trade show floor space. And then we had the presentations floor. You had how many speakers? We had 15 speakers, I believe.
Yeah.
And just the audio, video, the photography. Like for me, I just put on my first seller meetup, and I had 2 partners, and I'm so glad I did. Right, I would never want to do it by myself and without sponsors, right? But and just the photography and videography and AV aspects alone, it's a huge bill and a huge thing to kind of plan. So I just have to commend you guys. The food that you had was incredible. You had food for everybody like all day long. You had drinks for everybody all day long, coffee, everything. It was such a great experience because you could go see a speaker, or you could go and visit vendors. You did this bingo card thing where if you got all of the vendors marked off on your bingo card, you could turn it in for a prize at the end of the day. So you're encouraging people to visit sponsors. But yeah, you could go visit a speaker and see the show. You could go and visit a vendor. You could just hang out on the outskirts area. There was a magician. He was like doing stuff all day. Like it was really cool. There was so many cool things going on. There was birds, like tropical birds, I think from Jungle Island, that people were taking pictures with. And then at night, I'm just not going to be quiet about it, Mac. You don't even have to rep the event because I'm over here talking about it for you. But at night we had the VIP dinner and the food. Oh my gosh, the food. Again, the food. I can't believe it. There was like beef and there was steak, there was chicken, there was like and everything was like hand carved, and there was all these vegetables. There was a gelato bar. There was music, there was hookahs on every table, there was an open bar. It just was so well done. You guys had a cigar bar, which that part I don't like because I'm allergic, but but overall at least it was outside. If it was inside that would be a problem. But people just had a great time. We were just talking and networking and having so much fun and eating and drinking and all the things, right? And then you also had a comedian. You had a comedian that was telling Amazon jokes. You guys did an aggregator panel that night, which was interesting. But we just had so much fun. All of us hung out and we had such a good time. And just the way that the event was set up, it was set up to either learn, network, or both. So or eat. Learn, network, or eat, which I thought was great.
Yeah, listen, when we started doing the event, we decided, listen, we're not gonna just do another event, another expo, another this. If we do it, we're gonna do it all the way, and it's gonna be the best ever. I mean, all these entertainment, all this food, everything. We literally didn't sleep like almost for 2 months, prepping everything. And doing all this, hiring all these people, like this guy and this comedian. I don't know, all this stuff. It's non-stop work, and finally we pulled through. I'm still pinching myself. It's like it happened. It worked out. Thank God.
Yeah, you guys did a great job. And so I guess the only question left to ask. Oh, here we go. Wait, before I do that, we always ask what you're reading or listening to from a business owner side. So let's transition back over to the business side of Mac and ask, what are you reading or listening to that's keeping you motivated? Or is it a podcast? Is there something that you do in your routine that just keeps you motivated?
Thanks for tuning in to part 1 of this episode. Join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for live Q&A and bonus content after the recording at sellerroundtable.com. Sponsored by the ultimate software tool for Amazon sales and growth, sellerseo.com and amazingathome.com.